What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Phones and Drones. For those of you that follow the channel, you know we got our hands on with the new Z Fold 3, and obviously we still have our Z Fold 2 in-house. I want to go ahead and do a side-by-side comparison like I teased in one of those other unboxing videos to kind of show you just how similar yet different both these devices are at the same time. So, sorry about the skin that you see on this. A lot of you might ask about it. This is a D brand skin, and that is exactly where you can go get one from. So, this is obviously the new 3, and we have the old last generation 2 right here side by side. And aside from the obvious call outs, you have that different camera hump and all that. But looking at these next to each other, it is very hard to pick what is different. The cover displays are exactly the same at 6.23 inches. The interior displays are exactly the same as well, with the addition to that hole punch camera in the original Z Fold 2 and the under display camera now in the Z Fold 3. Now, having said that, if you were to look on a gray screen, very hard to see that this is not simply on the top of the display like usual. It is under the display. It looks pretty obvious on this black darker screen. On a white screen, or if you have text over it, aside from the pixelation up top, you cannot see it as easily. So just something to keep in mind there as well. But aside from that, as far as screen tech goes, you are getting 120 Hz displays on both the cover display as well as the interior display on the new Z Fold 2, whereas you only had it on the interior display of the Z Fold. On the Z Fold 2. On the Z Fold 3, you have the cover and interior display at 120 Hz. Definitely comes in handy. That cover display really is great instead of having to open and close this display every time you want to do something, and that 60 Hz on the old one did make a difference and looked a little junky. Aside from that, the screen tech again is pretty comparable. They did make it so this year's 3 is compatible with an S Pen. I've done a video on that. I've kind of talked about it and gave my thoughts. I think it's just kind of a stopgap measure until they figure out what they're going to do with the Note series and all that, but not having a spot to really house that S Pen in here makes it a hard sell. The case is just bulky, at least the first party case from Samsung. It's just bulky, and I am not a huge fan of that at all. So again, take that for what you will, make your own judgments, but it's there if you'd like to use the S Pen support in general. So as far as the hardware specs, you are getting a Snapdragon 865 on the old one, as opposed to the 888 on the new one. Same 12 gigs of RAM, same storage options, a slightly smaller battery, surprisingly, on the new Z Fold 3. Kind of a cause for concern, personally for me, just because the battery life on the 2 was phenomenal. Easily a full day of usage, no concern about needing to grab a charger. But that was with a 60 Hz display on the outside, and now that you have those 120 Hz displays on both screens, you cannot avoid using it on the exterior display unless you turn it off. Again, you shouldn't have to turn features off just to get better battery life on a newer device. Firm believer in that. Use it as it's meant to be used, so keep that in mind. You're going from now a slightly smaller battery. You're going to get a 4500 milliamp hour battery on the old one and a 4400 milliamp hour battery on the new one. So, having said that, your charging tech is the same, obviously still USB-C. Unfortunately, still does only work with 25 watt fast charging. In today's day and age, I feel like that's a little slow. It's iterative. You have phone manufacturers up there pushing out 100 watts plus for charging technology, but Samsung's still sticking with just the 25 watt charging. I think you get 4.5 watt reverse wireless charge as well. So obviously both are 5G capable. You are getting millimeter wave, I believe, on this. You have that new window cut out on the actual phone itself. You can see it up here. Same thing with what Apple did with their new iPhones from last year, and I'm sure it's going to have to remain the same this year as well. The cameras on the back. Let's go ahead and talk about this really quick. So for both of these camera setups, the islands look a little different. However, they are actually the exact same cameras year over year. They're all 12 megapixel cameras, no change in the actual lenses, the glass, anything of that nature. A little bit surprising on their highest end phone, but now they're really trying to differentiate the S21 series, the Ultra and all that, from the Fold. You're getting the latest tech, but not the best cameras anymore. So yes, the processing might be a little improved thanks to the 888 and some of the other internal built-in features. You might get a little bit better camera quality, but again, as far as hardware is concerned, it is the same. Keep that in mind. The 12 meg, basically your main camera on this is going to be f1.8. The telephoto is going to be 2.4, and the ultra wide is going to be 2.2. So again, exactly the same. Keep that in mind. If that's a deal breaker for you, I understand. Personally, a lot of people, I think, like these devices because you can not only see and get a great photo out of it, but you have that larger inside display to edit the video, edit your photos, use it as a larger viewfinder. So not having the best tech, I mean, that kind of, spending $1,800 on something not to get the best of something is kind of a low blow. But I understand what they're doing. Hopefully in next generations they will improve that. Just wanted to let you guys know to keep that in mind. Another huge call out between these now is the IP rating. So there's no dust rating on the new 3, but they have coated all the internals, and you now have a water resistant rating on here, which is huge. You don't have to worry about it in the rain and actually using it again. So keep that in mind. If you get anywhere near water, you are okay with this, but taking it to the beach and sand, not the most ideal scenario. You can see the gap looks slightly smaller. It's still there. You can still see through it, but maybe eventually they'll be able to get rid of that as well. But for now, in this generation, not the case. The hinge has been reworked. The armored aluminum or alloys that they're using now is a great improvement as well. It's supposed to be a little stronger than it was. The glass is 30% stronger on the inside display. Just looking at these two, it's hard to differentiate the difference between them. Again, it's going to be all cosmetic on the outside, like I said, with the camera bump, but all the new features are really going to be on the software side. I think personally, and a lot of other people have said the same thing, this under display camera in here is just a gimmicky feature. Yes, you can't really see it that well right now, but if you were to open up a picture, let me go ahead and pull up a photo for you. Ignore the hating on our Jags. It does give you that full screen display, which is definitely nice. But if you look a little closer, you can definitely see the pixelized images. It disappears, like they say, with the notch and all that, but it is there, and I think it just interrupts a really good looking display. But aside from that, I mean, it's the newest thing. I'm personally very excited to really review the Flip this year, more so than the Fold. But stay tuned, thumbs up this video. We'll be doing a whole bunch of more comparisons between these two in the near future. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.